is an unexpected sign of the apocalypse unfolding in these days we are living in. Three ancient, esoteric, and mysterious idols worshipped for centuries in the Kaaba: Lat, Uzza, Menat. Are these idols mentioned in the Qur'an making a return? Arabs are worshipping old idols in the Kaaba again. What will happen next? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, warned of such a time. When you hear the chilling connections of these idols, once believed to be the daughters of God, to our present day, you will be astonished. Discover the truth behind the conspiracy theories about Lat, Uzza, and Menat here for the first time. So, without further ado, let us begin. Are you ready for a journey through history? Now, we travel back to a time long before the present, to pre-Islamic Mecca and the Kaaba. The Arab society in Mecca held pagan beliefs. The Kaaba, built by the Prophet Ibrahim's son Ismail, was filled with hundreds of idols. The people of Mecca had adopted these idols as deities, and the monotheistic faith of Ibrahim and Ismail had long been forgotten. Today's topic revolves around these idols, worshipped instead of God, and their chilling connections to our present day. Among the hundreds of idols worshipped by the Meccan pagans, the most important were three women: Lat, Uzza, and Menat. These three were believed to be the daughters of God and were revered as goddesses. This belief made them the most significant idols in Mecca. But who were these three women? Throughout history, societies have sometimes immortalized special and mysterious individuals by creating statues, which eventually led to their deification. This fate befell the revered figures, prophets, and powerful individuals, including Jesus. Over time, the statues made in their memory were worshipped as deities. In Islam and the Qur'an, making images, figures, or statues of prophets is forbidden to prevent such deification. Returning to our topic, according to various sources, these three women turned into idols were once respected members of their society. What kind of superiority might they have displayed to make people worship them? Modern information suggests that they might have been ordinary people later mythologized, among other differing claims. However, there are other details known about them. Let's start with Lat. Lat was a significant figure in the Middle Eastern region during the Meccan period. The various depictions of Lat and the respect shown to her highlight her importance and influence. According to clues from the Qur'an, Lat, like other idols, was once a human being like us. During her lifetime, she was known for preparing meals by mixing barley and wheat flour with water and oil and offering them to visitors by a rock in Taif. Because of her habit of preparing this food, known as sevik, she came to be called Lat. Her hospitality to visitors ensured that she was remembered even after her death. After her passing, her grave became a place of visitation, and over time people began to build altars and temples in her name. Before long, Lat was being referred to as a goddess. In Taif, she was represented by a white stone, and in Tedmir, by a statue of a real queen. In more exotic depictions, she was portrayed as a woman with a hairy body, wrinkled skin, lion's nose, predatory bird wings and feet, and holding a snake. These different depictions showed the extensive cultural and geographical influence of Latwo. Temples and altars dedicated to Lat were widespread in various parts of the Hejaz. One of the temples located in Nale was an important sanctuary visited by the Saqif tribe upon their return from every expedition. Here, sacrifices were made in her name. The other goddess believed in, Uzza, was the last idol to emerge within the Trinity pantheon, but was considered one of the most important idols for the Quraysh. This girl named Uzza was found in an abandoned house by the people of Taif, and no one knew anything about her parents. As she stepped into young womanhood, Uzza became very beautiful and attractive. Anyone who looked at her with ill intentions either fell ill or encountered some misfortune. After her death, the Quraysh tribe and other surrounding Arab tribes began to show great respect to Uzza, offering her gifts and sacrifices, and even organizing annual festivals in her name. According to the information provided by Ibn al-Kalbi, the rise of Uzza as a worshipped goddess began when Zalim bin Asid of the Ghatafan tribe first adopted her as an idol. While traveling from Mecca to Iraq, he commissioned a large statue of Uzza in the Hurad Valley. A temple called Buz was built, and it was claimed that prophetic sounds began to be heard there. Over time, the tradition and ritual of worshipping Uzza became established in Mecca and its surroundings. Another of their idols was Menat. According to Ibn al-Kalbi, Menat was one of the oldest idols worshipped by the Arabs, and all Arabs showed great respect to this goddess. Over time, Menat became a sacred figure accepted by many tribes. Devotion to Menat spread across various regions of the Arabian Peninsula, and sacred sites were established in her name. The most well-known place of worship was a coastal area called Musher, located between Mecca and Medina. In this place there was a temple dedicated to Menat that had a special room where gifts offered to her were kept, and a guardian protected this sacred area. Mina was also associated with natural events. The Arabs believed that she caused the wind to blow, brought clouds, and made the rain fall. These beliefs symbolized Menat's power and control over nature and demonstrated how deep and widespread the worship of her was. The destruction of idols. Of course, after the Qur'an was revealed, the belief in the oneness of God, known as Tawheed, began to spread in Mecca and later throughout the entire Arab region. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had reached the end of a great struggle to correct these erroneous beliefs and establish the belief in the oneness of God. The time had come to eliminate the idols. He would act just like his great ancestor Abraham. Muhammad, O.B.U.H., who once had to leave his city because his people tried to kill him for believing in and spreading the faith in one God, had now conquered Mecca. After the conquest of Mecca, he first assigned his commander Khalid ibn al-Walid to destroy the idol of Lat. Khalid ibn al-Walid set out for Taif with strong faith. When he arrived, the guardians of Lat had gathered around the idol. Khalid easily destroyed the idols of Lat and Menat without much resistance from the local people. However, the last idol, Uzza, would not be so easily demolished. When Islam's greatest commander, Khalid ibn al-Walid, reached the Nahali Valley with a unit of 30 men, he encountered 3 cedar trees at the site where the idol of Uzza stood. According to belief, Uzza resided in these 3 trees. The Prophet had given Khalid the task of cutting down these 3 trees in order. As Khalid began to cut down the trees one by one, a black woman suddenly appeared as he was about to cut the last tree. She was bare-chested, with her hair loose, her hands on her shoulders, and she was gnashing her teeth as she walked towards him. Behind her was the guardian of the idol. Upon this, Khalid recited a verse. "O Uzza, I deny you and do not glorify your name, for I have seen how God has humiliated you." Then, with a blow of his sword, he split her head, and the woman suddenly turned into a piece of charcoal. He then cut down the last tree and reached the idol, destroying it. Afterward, when Khalid informed Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, of the situation, the Prophet said, "That was Uzza, the female devil." The destruction of these three great idols marked the beginning of the end of idolatry in the Arabian Peninsula. The courage and determination of Muhammad, peace be upon him, declared the victory of the belief in the oneness of God, Tawheed. The destruction of the idols of Lat, Menat, and Uzza also demolished the idols in the hearts and minds of the people, allowing the light of Islam to spread everywhere. However, these idols were not gone forever. According to the hadiths, which contain the words of the Prophet, the belief in and worship of Lat, Menat, and Uzza would re-emerge. This is a sign that the day of judgment is near, he said. As conveyed by his wife Aisha in several hadith collections, she reported, "I heard the messenger of God say, 'The end of night and day will not come until people once again worship Lat and Uzza.'" The resurgence of worship of Lat and Uzza is a sign of the approaching Judgment Day. So, what relevance does this have to our present day? To understand this better, let's now head to Saudi Arabia. We are heading to Saudi Arabia. For a while now, Arab social media has been abuzz with what is believed to be a sign of the approaching Day of Judgment. No, I'm not talking about the signs that the Arab lands will become green again, or that Bedouins will compete in building tall buildings, which we already know have come true and are among the miracles of Prophet Muhammad. This time, it's something almost no one expected to re-emerge: the resurgence of belief in Lat, Uzza, and Menat. As you know, in recent times, Saudi Arabia has been making headlines with unusual steps, such as hosting Halloween celebrations and music festivals. Under the banner of moderate Islam, many changes have begun to take place. Amid efforts to replace the country's religious identity with a more nationalistic one, Saudi Arabia has also started initiatives to revive the ancient Arab goddesses as part of the kingdom's national heritage, even calling for their return. Here's one of the statements made. "From the past to the future, Al-Uzza is always there. As Saudis, we are deeply connected to our past. Whether we are Muslim or not, this is Arab history. The Saudi government places great importance on the ancient Arab gods. Our past is a part of our future." Although the stated aim is to present these goddesses as cultural values of the Arab world and to promote these historical values to the world, ensuring they are not forgotten, this has sparked a wave of anger among other Muslims. Amid these developments, some chilling claims have emerged. According to Sheikh Uthman bin Farouk, the worship of Lat and Uzza has resurfaced in the Arabian Peninsula. Some people have reportedly started secretly keeping statues of Lat and Uzza in their homes and worshipping them. Some social media posts also seem to confirm this. One social media user says, "Help me. I need assistance in reconnecting with Al-Uzza. I feel her, and my aunt described her as evil and controlling, but that's not true. I remember how Uzza helped me cope with anxiety and depression in 2019. She supported me until I stopped believing in my spiritual path. But then my life went downhill. I feel her power and protection, and she sees me as her daughter even though I'm a man. But she asks for gifts and reciprocation. Is this about blood? Should I sacrifice a goat in her name?" Another person responded, "It's clear that you have a deep and meaningful connection with Al-Uzza, and thank you for sharing your experiences with us. It's great that you feel her support and protection during tough times." Lastly, I share the following verses about Lat, Uzza, and Menat. "Now, have you also considered the idols of Lat and Uzza, and the third, Manat? These idols are nothing but names that you and your ancestors have invented. It is a practice that God has never permitted." Surah An-Najm 30. So, what do you think about this? Please remember to share your thoughts on other signs of the Day of Judgment you believe are happening in the comments, and to like the video. As always, I'll be reading all your comments. Until we meet in the next video, let's connect through the other videos on my channel.